I see greatness in you. I see a need for our kids to be told of a greatness that exists within them, and then to be given the tools of support, accountability, and high expectations so that they can see that greatness emerge. We look around, we look at the wayward, the entitled, the lazy, the unaccountable, children and adults of this what's in it for me genre of people. And we tend to blame it generationally, those kids nowadays. But I see it differently. I see that kids born today are basically the same as they were 50 years ago. Kids are a blank slate. And it's our job, yours and mine, to imprint upon these kids the values and the principles that will make their life greatness. And it's our job to see greatness within ourselves and then within them. Because if we don't see the greatness within ourselves, how do we lead? It is understanding that responsibility that profoundly changed the way in which I look at motivation. When we look at motivation, we have to have a strong foundation. And so any system must have a strong foundation. Let's first talk about greatness. And greatness is different for everyone. Greatness is something that can be different for each, but it all feels the same. Because you cannot deny the fact of what you feel when something great happens, when you do something great. That's a universal feeling. Everybody can kind of understand that. Greatness is not in the trophies, in the banners. It's in the everyday. It's in the doing the little things that support the right thing from which greatness can happen. When you're looking at a foundation has to be a nurturing environment. If it's not a nurturing environment, things can't grow. And from what we really want is we want this greatness to grow. And the nurturing environment really needs to nurture things like respect, values, faith, and an attitude of gratitude. We also have to have a holistic focus. We cannot fail to look at one thing, athletic ability or intellectual ability, and fail to understand that we're dealing with the entire youth or the entire person. So we have to look at the mind, the body, and the spirit as a whole unit. We support any one of them, it helps all of them. But if we fail the other two by supporting only one, we didn't do our full job. And then it has to have a key element, a cornerstone. And for this one, it's do right, be right, and pay it forward. And in that, I believe greatness exists. So we're going to look at the pillars and the elements of this program. The pillars of do right, be right, and pay it forward, and the elements of the mind, body, and spirit, and then the environment that it creates internally and society within each one of them. We have to look at both, because without the pillars, we have no strength. Without the elements, we have no substance. First, do right. Now, let's get caught up and let's start talking about what is right. It's not the I'm right, you're wrong. It's not the true and false. It's the right that's defined by your internal compass. That's defined by your moral code. When we go to sleep at night, when we're in the quiet and the space in our own heads and our own lives, we know what right is. And that's the right we're talking about here. So when we go to talking about doing right is doing the little things, doing the actions that create habits, that create healthy habits, that create cravings for people to want to do things like go for a run, eat healthy. When it comes to the mind, it's putting the thoughts out there, the dreams, the ideas that are positive, that open up the idea of what is possibility. It's about thinking and doing the right things as a habit every day so that we are continuing to be able to reach our greatness. When it comes to the body, it's about doing the little things, and the micro habits, the muscle memory that exists from doing the right things and the little things. Joe Paterno said, do the little things right and the big things will take care of themselves. And that's so right, and it comes with a physical act of doing it. And when you do that right, time and time again, you'll see how you can be right, and then obviously if you've been blessed, you can pay it forward. And then when it comes to the The Spirit, you have to allow yourself to have the ability to have faith in something bigger than yourself. To allow yourself to be amazed. And that's a discipline that you have to think about. We have a picture here of a fork in the middle of the forest. And every day we have micro decisions that we have to make, the right and the wrong decision. And if we listen to ourselves, if we allow our spirit to listen to us and our mind and our body to talk together, we know what is right. And we allow ourselves, the better we listen to that, the better we can make decisions. And that's what I challenge the kids to do. I challenge the kids to understand what is coming into them and what they want coming out of them. And they have to think about that. That's a decision. One example of doing right is when I was in high school wrestling in North Dakota, we go obviously through the winter months, and it's cold. And I typically take one path to the high school. And one day, because it was icy on the hill, I thought I would take another one that is a little flatter. And I'm on the way there, and I'm about 2 blocks away, and I see another teammate of mine. His name was Sean Ringsocker. And I said, Sean, do you need a ride? And Sean said, yeah, that'd be great. And I said, Sean, how many blocks away do you live? That's 3 blocks away still. I said, it's 10 above, if not 0 degrees. I said, where do you live? And he said, I live on the other side of town, which is almost 2.5 miles away. And I said, do you walk every morning? It's 6 o'clock in the morning. You walk every morning practice? And he said, yeah. And I said, why? He says, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. He knew what the right thing was. He listened to his internal thing. And without all the challenges, we could wake up and say it's cold outside. We could say I'm tired. He got up and walked. That's choosing to do the right thing. The next one is be right. I love this one because be right is the creating of a supportive environment. And when we create the supportive environment, kids can achieve a greatness because they don't have the fear of looking around wondering if everybody else is on the same path. If they're all doing right and they're respecting each other and they're honoring each other and they have an attitude of gratitude and they're appreciating the gifts they've been given, they're all thinking in the unison of improving themselves. And to improve themselves, they have to improve the team. And to improve the team, you improve yourself. It folds back on itself. What it creates is an environment where you have an equality, not of skill, but of respect. That's the platform that we have to understand. When you have that platform of respect, anything's possible. To be right in the mind, right? When we talk about the mind, it's allowing good thoughts to come in and to share good thoughts. It's using your ideas to solve the problems of the day and using your idea to solve the problems that others might have and creating an environment that is at peace. We're going to talk about that in the spirit part, but it's also using your mentally to think about peaceful things and things that are positive, things that allow yourself to grow. When it comes to the body and being right, it's being in a healthy state. It's the accumulation of doing the right things, of going for a run when you really don't want to. It's eating the right things when you maybe want a little extra treats. It's doing them little things that create a healthy body. And when the body's in a right position, we know that. And it's so important because if we don't have a right body, how are we ever going to fully experience the greatness that's inside us? Without that temple to carry us, without that body to carry us through all the amazing experiences that we can have, how are we going to do that? So when it comes to spirit, being right in the spirit is having a robust, just peacefulness to you. And not so much about a sit back, placated. It's about being able to challenge yourself, but understand that there's an environment that you're able to create, that you are believing in something that's greater than yourself. And it can be a cause, it can be a God, it can be all them things, but you have to have that spirit and that faith that gives you that guidance, that gives you that strength, because we are all going to face tough times. And if you don't have the right position of your spirit, you're not going to be able to get through. That's what carries you through. So the next one is my favorite, is pay it forward. I love pay it forward because it's so simple, and yet it's so complete. If you do right and you be right, we can see the greatness happen. We can see teams succeed. We can see individuals become successful. We can see couples flourish. When you do the little things and you take care of yourselves, that's the amazing part of it. When you get to pay it forward, that's when you get to share. You get to share your greatness with the world. You get to let it shine. You get to be amazing and let people see. That's the greatness. Once you see it within yourself, then you can share it with everyone else. That's the greatness that they can see then within themselves. When it comes to the mind, it's allowing your mind to, once you're working on your problems, not once you've solved all of your problems. It's the empowerment of working on your problems. That's the greatness, is the ability to challenge and tackle problems. But to pay it forward is to use that mind for the greatness of helping others. To be able to help, because you might be that one bit of insight, that one bit of perspective that gives somebody the ability to look at it in a whole new way and help them on their path of their mind of doing right and being right and paying it forward. When it comes to the body, it's lending a hand. It's helping out. It's using that God-given ability you had to build upon that. It's taking the blessings that you've been giving, but to step to the next level and help somebody. When you drive somebody along the road and they need help, you stop, right? It's that mental part of understanding that that's the do right there, but that's paying it forward. And I think most people can always believe, whether it's karma or whatever you want to believe in, that when you do them things for others, they fold back to you. And even if they only fold back in the form of the good energy that you get from doing them, that you carry that energy through the rest of your day, think about how that affects every other interaction that you have. So paying it forward is the way that you pay it back to yourself. And when it comes to the Spirit, paying it forward for the Spirit is really the ability to share your spiritual strength with others, because everybody is going through a battle. And you might be the person that helps them through their cloudy days, that helps them through their challenging points. It's the same in which you physically would reach out, you spiritually. And it might be a smile. It might be walking down. It might be saying hi. It might be saying good morning. You never know where that is going to be. You never know where it's going to be important. And so that's where you get to pay it forward. This is one of the favorite pictures I have. The one you saw before, and this one is my favorite. The one before was called Dream Catchers. Our team volunteered to help kids that are disabled in some way, and they play t-ball. And it's awesome to see kids that are very able understand the value of ability. That is something profound that I can't teach, I can't yell. They have to experience that. And this time when they got the opportunity to do a Habitat for Humanity build, that building right there is the same, maybe about 90% the size of this person's house before the flood. And this person, as they saw, got a trailer, as you can see off to the right there, and that was bigger than the house they had before. And their desire was to get back to the house they had, because, as was mentioned before, that's home. And they were appreciative and they were ecstatic for what they got. And these kids were paying it forward, right? They were giving their time, they were giving their labor, but they got back in a way that can't be spoken, that can't be measured, that can't be understood in simple terms. It's a feeling they got back, it's an understanding they got back. And if we can give them an understanding to our youth, to understand the value of what this is, that's amazing. So when we do right, it's making them right decisions on a micro level. Make sure we're doing the right things every day, because then that creates the be right environment. And when we say be right being important, it's understanding the fact that there's days when we're just not right. We're not in that right space. But acknowledge it, that we got to get ourselves back to that space, whether it's through one action of doing things right or a mental change in our head space to get ourselves to that right position. Because then you can pay it forward. From that space, from that greatness that exists within you, you can pay it forward. And what makes this work for kids is to put high expectations out there. Don't pander to kids. Kids are great. Kids are unbelievable. They'll do amazing things. But if we allow them to settle, human nature is they'll settle because it's comfortable. We have to push them and challenge them to the greatness that we see within them, because we understand that we want to be great, not because of ego or them things, but because we want to be great through them and help push them and see their greatness represent the greatness in the world. So live by example. You've got to believe in your own greatness. You really got to believe in it. You got to understand that your greatness, remember, it's not being the president of this or this and all these titles. It's about the greatness, about doing the things that make you feel great. Live intentionally with greatness. And that means that when you feel that greatness, don't just say, okay, it's there. Do something with it. Understand that that's what you're going to create. And live a purpose-driven life of action and productivity. Get out there and do something. Share this awesomeness that you have inside of you. Share it with kids. Because that's the problem is if we lose that connection between us and the kids, then that's where they get lost. Share that stuff with them. And one of my favorite, because this is what defines character, which defines so much of our ability to do all these other things. Face fear, uncertainty, honor, and notoriety with integrity. Be great and be challenged because you are great and you can be challenged, and face it with an honor and an integrity. May we all be blessed enough to exceed even our greatest expectations. Go forward and do right, be right, and pay it forward. Thank you.